There's a drug almost no one talks about. Millions of people are hooked on it, and most of them don't even know it. This is the story of the drug nobody talks about.
And when you're in those high stress, constant, chronic, overworked situations, you are absolutely not paying attention to what your needs are. And so you've got this chronic unfulfillment of needs. And so then you start compensating in other ways. You just pick your drug of choice, whatever that is. People have drugs that are acceptable for them, the ones that aren't. And the obvious ones are on the government schedule, all the narcotics and things you can smoke, things you can drink, things you can inject. Those are obvious drugs. Less obvious are behavioral things, rage, gambling, or pornography. They're all just ways to compensate. It's very human. Like addiction is kind of a very human thing. It's a way that we compensate for these unmet needs. And the addiction, like your body is so in tune. It says he's doing things that are making him not okay. And I need to bring some things in to balance it out, even if the long-term effect is super detrimental. Near term, I just need to raise him up a little bit. Yeah, I went through all sorts of stuff. And there were drugs I couldn't use a lot of the external stuff. Like I couldn't drink or smoke or anything like that. That was too visible. It would mess up the rest of my life. I had to keep things in. And so I would act out in different ways emotionally. I used a lot of pornography at the time, and it felt like I was moving into an addictive state where I was doing these things. I didn't really want to be doing them. I'm ashamed of that, but they were helpful. It was coping, right? It was absolutely coping. And so at some point I started saying, this stuff's getting out of control and I need to do something about it. And opened up, talked to my wife and talked to family, and there's help out there. But so I went to a 12-step group.
That's awesome, man.
I walked into a 12-step group and I was like ashamed to go in. I was terrified to walk into one of these meetings. I'm not an addict. And I'm just doing some stuff that's, but I'm like, I don't really want to be doing it. And I've quit before that. I start doing it again. And that kind of seems like an addict, but it doesn't fit my identity. I'm otherwise a really successful person. I have great work and entrepreneur and a father and a husband, all the things. I check all the boxes. Yet inside there's something that's really broken and I just don't want to look at it. So I walk into one of these meetings, I got some advice from someone, walk in, and one of their phrases is, it works if you work it, so work it, which also means it doesn't work if you don't work it. Don't blame the program. You got to look inward. So I joined one of those. I started attending a meeting on Saturday mornings early, and I just found a community of people that none of the external stuff mattered. You just have a first name and a last initial. And you can just say, hey, I'm Dave. I'm an addict. You throw it on the table. And you talk about the things that are the most sort of despicable or embarrassing or whatever. And you put it out there and you wait for people to throw you out of the room. And they're like, oh, cool. You done? Next. And they move on. I'm going to go get a cup of coffee afterwards. But I fell into that universe and I didn't tell people about it. It wasn't something I wanted to go talk about. I'm just like, I'm not really proud of my sort of second life, but the more I just continue to go back and benefit from association with people and learning the program, learning the steps, and then practicing them, I started to learn, well, there's a whole pattern here. And I see the pattern in myself. I start seeing emerging in mostly men were in the groups that I would go to. So I'd see men that had essentially, I think, stopped progressing emotionally when they started using whatever their drug was. It doesn't matter. Started smoking or whatever the thing was you start to use to compensate. And a lot of times that happens in your teenage years. And it makes perfect sense. Like when the stressful thing happens, I do this and it works. And so I don't need to do anything else. Why would you call it a more adaptive strategy when your maladaptive one works well enough?
It doesn't cause immediate immediate harm. At least that's what you're telling yourself, but you do feel it violate you. Every time you do it.
Yes. And there's something there, but it works. And that's where when addicts get into this kind of state of denial where you're like, I do this thing, I know it hurts me, but I can quit anytime, or it's not really a problem, or just this one time it'll work out. And you get this immediate hyper focus on the benefit that you need right now. Because this is where your body just says, it puts you to sleep and says, I'm going to take care of you.
Sure.
You're not taking care of you.
Yeah.
And this drug, behavior, whatever, is going to take care of you. And yes, it's going to have all sorts of destructive after effects.
But you'll be better.
We're not thinking about that right now. Because whatever it launches in, whatever hormone launches into your brain or neurotransmitter drops, you get like, you pass the point of control.
Yeah.
You cede it to that urge, and then you act out. And it works.
Yeah.
That's the thing, is one of the biggest things I realized. So there's a guy sharing in a 12-step group, and he says, I love this stuff. He goes, and I'm like, wow, he does. He loves the drug. And I realized, so do I. And even though it's destructive, like, I have to be honest, right? I don't use this stuff because I hate it. I use it because it works.
Yeah.
And I don't like the outcome. And so that's why they call it a maladaptive strategy. It used to work, and it works in the moment, but immediately starts to have consequences. And so what I learned, again, men come in, they just stop progressing emotionally a certain part in their life, and they just need to learn some emotional tools. They have emotions. Who knew? On how do you deal with that, and how do you see it, deal with resentment in your life? It's a huge part of step work. Step 4 is identifying a list of resentments, longhand writing them out. What are they, and what are the impact on you? And it's like for me, it was a complete mind flip. I never thought about things like this. And there was a block in the 4th step. A lot of times it's column based. You write out your issues on one side. I would call it your bitch list, like all the things you're mad about. They did this to me, and I can't believe that. And all your complaining is kind of your victim state. And by the time you get to the 4th column on the right side, this one's all about putting in black and white your own part. And where were my character defects in play? Like, where was my part in this? There's 4 things: selfishness, self-seeking, fear, and dishonesty. So you look for those 4 characteristics. And I tell you, I got to that 4th column. I'm working this through with my sponsor, and I'm sitting in a Starbucks. I remember exactly where I was. I'm like, I got nothing. It's all them.
Yeah.
And I'm blank. Like,
you didn't want to take responsibility.
Where was I being selfish? And the way they describe selfish is the world's not going my way. Am I mad about it? I'm like, nothing. Where am I being dishonest? We're not saying what needs to be said or whatever. Nope. Where am I fearful? I mean, maybe there's some fear. And then where is it the self-seeking making it all about me? So I would have to sit and stare at that and rack my brain, because I was all in. It's their problem. They did something. And eventually, slowly, kind of my heart opens up and my ego drops a little bit. And I start to realize, oh, yeah, actually, I was getting something out of that. Oh, I do have a part in this. And why am I still mad about something that happened 10 years ago? Is that crazy? Or this person or this idea? And I started to realize, oh, I'm getting something out of this. And that all of a sudden you get to this place where you got to look at yourself naked, if you will, and be like, that's what's there. The power is right at that moment. Everything in that 4th column is stuff that I can control.
Yeah, that's the responsibility. Yeah.
All of a sudden it's like, whoa, that's the realization that hits. Like, everything in the bitch list, if you will, is out of my control. It happened in the past, or it's a fear of the future. None of it's changeable. But everything in the right column, all of a sudden, I can just stop expecting things to be different than they are. I can literally just drop it. I can tell the truth. I can realize it's not about me and never was. Or I can recognize I have fear about something, and I can have some compassion for myself, and I can hand that off to a higher power, as they say, and just drop it.
Okay.
And all of a sudden,